Hi, it's Morag from York Professional Pet Sitting and Dog Walking. I wanted to come on and have a chat with you, but the first thing I wanted to say is the date. And the date is important for context because you may be watching this a year from now and wondering what's going on. But today is April 21st, 2020, and we're about 5 weeks into the global pandemic of COVID-19. And if you're watching this in the future, you will remember how quickly things changed and how much things changed. One of the things that is also going to change business related to us is being able to go into your home and do the new client meet and greets. Now, this is something that I love to do, and so do the staff that we're doing it now. Great to go in, get to know you, have a casual chit chat. You find out about us, me as the owner, what my beliefs are, what the company mission is. And so we're really going to miss doing that when we do it virtually. But I thought I'd make this video to tell you a little bit about me and where I'm from and why I do what I do. So here we are in April, and by the way, it is snowing out. So my name again is Morag. It is a Scottish name. And my maiden name is Cameron, and Morag is actually a Clan Cameron name. And people call me Mo. And Mo's fine, Morag's fine. Let's not go any further than that. So I was born in England, even though my parents were Scottish, and we lived just southeast of London in an area called Kent, which is known as the Garden of England, and it was certainly beautiful. My dad was a microbiologist and bacteriologist, and he worked at a beautiful location, many acreage. It was a beautiful campus with all kinds of different buildings, and one of the buildings was a veterinary center, and that is where I love to go on my days off school or if we were home during the summer holidays. We never had dogs or cats ourselves because we did travel so much, and my dad was part of the World Health Organization and UNICEF, so travel was constant and sometimes for months at a time. But I did enjoy going into the veterinary clinic, and there was everything in there from mice and rats and guinea pigs and hamsters to sheep and horses and cows. It was just beautiful. And one of my favorite memories is going to feed the lambs in the spring. Who wouldn't like that? Holding the bottles for them and just watching the lambs prance around in the spring. There's nothing like it, and very typically English. Inside the veterinary center, there were tons of animals, and there were actually some enclosures and crates of animals that would have a sign on them saying, "Dr. Cameron's daughters, do not touch." And that always made me feel really special. So I enjoyed going in there and helping care for them, and I think that's where my love and passion for animals came from. I do remember one time I was bitten pretty badly. But luckily there was also a doctor's office on site. And so I came home Dad brought me home for lunch, I think it was, and I had a big, bandaged up hand from this animal bite. And I was so worried that my mom would say, you can't go back there, you got bitten. And so before she even got to open her mouth when I walked in the door, the first thing I said was, "It wasn't the guinea pig's fault." And they both got a good laugh out of that for many years, because I never blamed anything an animal did to me on the animal. It was my fault. I probably moved too fast or came at it the wrong way, and I'm sure I learned a lesson or two. But thankfully, Mom let me go back. So it was a wonderful childhood and upbringing, and surrounded by lots of animals. In our own house, we always had birds and fish, but never a cat or a dog, sadly. However, our neighbor, Mr. Humberston, it's amazing what you remember all these years later, was a breeder of Dachshunds. And if you've ever watched a Dachshund puppy prance around a backyard, oh my goodness, All puppies are adorable, but these were super adorable. And I remember going over and helping with the puppies and the mom. And when I wasn't over there, or when I wasn't allowed over there, I remember if I stood on the edge of our sandbox, I could peer over the fence and watch them playing in the backyard. So surrounded by animals, and I think that's where I got my true love and passion for their care and well-being. In 1972, Dad changed his job and we immigrated to Canada. That's a whole other story. Oh yeah, we lived in North York. I am a Willowdale girl. And again, still no dogs or cats because there was still a lot of travel involved. When it became the time for me to figure out what to do when I was growing up, that was the obvious choice because of my passion for animals. However, even though Dad was a scientist, math and science eluded me. It was not my thing. I'd have never have made it. I was no good at it, and I didn't even have the interest about it. And I had the passion for animals, but not the science and math that was needed to go with it. So I decided to go with my second choice, which is very close. Children. I decided to go into early childhood education, and people sometimes get annoyed with me about this comment, but children and pets are very much alike. Whether you agree or disagree, that's what I think. And so I went to early childhood education, and I wanted to get into special needs kids. And I did my field work with highly autistic kids. And that's when I realized that, unfortunately, that wasn't really for me either. I took it all too personally. And maybe that's why I love being with animals too, is I put my heart and soul into it, and I couldn't have done it for the long term. So I tried other jobs, and I was in sales, I was in marketing, tried all the different jobs. But things changed in 1999 when I fell in love with a man from Wisconsin. Actually, it was his really cute chocolate lab, Bob, that I fell in love with. I'm just kidding. He was a pretty good guy too. Anyway, we went back and forth for a couple of years, and in 2000 decided that Glenn and Bob would move up here to be in Canada. Glenn was in the corporate world back in the US, but had decided when he moved up to Canada, he did not want to be in the corporate world anymore. So we started to kind of brainstorm and think about what kind of business could we start up together. And we had quite a long list. And as we were going through the list, the one thing we realized is pets were always a part of whatever it is we wanted to do. We were thinking of opening a bed and breakfast that was allowing pets, which was unusual at the time, or a boarding stable or a trail. Everything had to do with animals. So one time he was up and Bob was here, and we were going to go out for the day. And I said, well, what are we going to do with Bob? And he said, well, call your dog walker, pet sitter. And I knew he had a dog walker in the US. He had had one for years for Bob because he was at work all day and knew that that was too long to leave him. So I realized there were no dog walkers and pet sitters in the area. And I did a bit of research, and I found one lady, and she was close to retiring and was just doing cats. And so bingo, there was our business. So we picked the name York Professional Pet Sitting, and that name sticks with us 20 years later. And Glenn did some work in the US. He did the logo and worked on the marketing, and I was here getting clients. And so for the first year, I did it myself with my two little kids who were dragged everywhere with me. And, well, they weren't so little at that point, but little enough. And then when Glenn and Bob came up, Glenn had clients and was doing dog walking too, and we built the business together. And then we had started to get staff, And truly from the beginning, I have believed that the reason we have succeeded is our deep belief in the care and love that pets should receive, that they're happier at home. It is a lot more labor intensive than having a boarding kennel, but we find they're happier at home. My philosophy is every time that you walk out the door, you come back through the door. If you leave them somewhere, they don't know what's going on. They don't know if they're coming back. They don't know when they'll see you again. But they're in their own familiar environment with their own sights, familiar sights, sounds, scents. They're walking in their own neighborhood. They're meeting their own friends when they're on walks. And I truly feel that's better for them. And when we hire our staff, we currently have a staff of 19. Unfortunately, due to COVID right now and everything being shut down, most of them are laid off. But we still have about 5 that are currently working for us, and the others are anxious to come back. But when we hire, we're looking for that same passion, that same belief that the care of the animal, they don't have a voice and we need to be there for them. Reliability, responsibility, giving medications, doing insulin shots. And I'm still, even though I'm the owner, I'm still a very active owner, probably too active. People would probably like me to step back a little bit. But, you know, this is my baby and it's important to me. I meet everyone before, you know, we hire them. I go to the interviews so I can see if they fit the mission of the company and if they have the same morals and values about pets that we do. And we have an awesome team. I miss them so much right now, but I know it won't be long till they're back. And it's been such a pleasure, and we feel such gratitude that we have such amazing clients. And we look forward to starting the virtual meet and greet so we can, I know a lot of people have been getting puppies at this time and they're going to need to be socialized and they're going to need walks. And seeing we can't come into your homes, we'll get the virtual ones set up. But in the meantime, if you're interested in knowing about me, this is me. And I also want to let you know that if you ever need to contact me personally, if the office or the dog walker can't help you, my personal email is morag@yorkprofessionalpetsitting.com. That's MORAG. And we look forward to meeting you and your pup. Thanks for listening. Take care.